Yes, hello and welcome folks. It's Chris here from the Ministry of Dice, otherwise known online as the True Mr. Six, and I'm back today with yet another video in our And Now for Something Completely Different series. And today it is going to be something completely different because I'm going to do another non-Dice Masters game review. That's right. Oh, the excitement. So a couple of weeks ago, I did a review of a Kickstarter game called Canine Kleptomaniacs that I'd received recently. And I'd been playing it with my kids and it proved very popular, and so I jumped 2 feet in and did a quick review online. As many regular listeners of the Dice Masters podcast that we do will know, Andy and I quite often talk about our non-Dice Masters gaming in the intro. I talk about the games that I play with my kids and the wife, otherwise known as the hashtag competitive wife, and Andy will talk about the miniature games that he plays or the Cthulhu games that he plays down at his board game club, and we both talk about our misadventures on console playing Apex Legends. And we used to get messages, or still do get messages in fact, people asking, what was that game you mentioned? Or I'll have people tapping me up on my Instagram when I take photos of the games that I'm playing with the kids, saying, which is that one, what's that, is it good? And so I did Canine Kleptomaniacs, and then in response to that video, thank you so very much folks, I got messages saying, I enjoyed that review, can you do more? And the answer is yes, I can do more. Here I am, I'm going to do another one. And for today's video, what I'd like to do is review Kung Fu Zoo. So what's the story? And as I did in the last video, I'm going to tell 2 stories now. The first is going to be the story of playing the game and how it came into my life, and the second story is going to be the narrative of the gameplay. So the first story there, how it came into my life. We bought this game about 2 Christmases ago. It's traditional in my family that on Christmas Eve we have a little Christmas Eve kind of early present thing that goes on. And that always includes a board game that we can all play together as a family. It includes the paraphernalia, the bits and bobs that we're going to leave out for Father Christmas and the reindeer. It'll have some fresh new pajamas, a fancy hot chocolate thing, some sweet treats, etc, etc. And Kung Fu Zoo was the game that we bought for the kids to play. I mean, you could, in fact, you can see it's got a little dent in the thing there because it's my own copy. This is, you know, no review copies here. And so we got it for that Christmas, broke it out on Christmas Eve, played round after round after round after round of it. And then it came out again on Christmas Day. And then it came out again on Boxing Day. And then the children taught it to their aunties and uncles. And then they taught it to their grandparents, my parents and my wife's parents. Then they taught it to their friends who came round to visit over Christmas. Then they taught it to their niece, my niece, their cousin. And so the game just grew and grew and grew, and it has remained a regular favourite in the Mr. Six household and extended family households for 2 years now, and still remains popular as well. It's very quick, it's very punchy, very fun. Now the story of the game, let's tell you the story of the game. Now, when the zoo closes and the night descends, something extraordinary happens in the zoo. That's right, the animals in the zoo have a Kung Fu contest. Yeah, it's true, honestly, it's a true story. So the animals, you've got these 4 different animals here, the elephant, the cheetah, the gorilla and the zebra. And these are duking it out to be the king of the Kung Fu Zoo contest. It's published by Wizkid Games, who are, you know, friends of the Ministry of Dice content channel from our relationship with them through Dice Masters. You get all these lovely dicey dice that represent each of the 4 animals, and that's pretty much it. You duke it out for a few rounds to see who can be the last Kung Fu Zoo master standing. Okay, so how does it play then? So it's 2 to 4 players. Each player has an animal card. Let's go for this side. Has an animal card. There's 2 variants that you can play. You can play this side, which has the special ability, or you can play this side, which is where you earn points. We tend to play this side, so I can speak more knowledgeably about this side. You have the box, the insert of the box, which is also the board for the game. You have the central arena here, and then you've got this kind of black border around the edges. And it is so outrageously simple. It's, I suppose, kind of like snooker with dice. To start the game, you place your dice on the sides. You have to start where one of these little marker indicators are. And you flick your dice into the arena, Oh, I couldn't have planned that any better. It has to bounce off the side, and then once your dice is... Let's reclaim that. Pretend it didn't go down there, folks, or that's one of the pleasures of the game. The dice will land on a face, and then the next player will go. They get to take their first turn. They have to rebound off the side for their first turn. But the aim of the game is essentially to knock each other's dice. Oh, do you know what? In a real game with my kids, I could never do that in a month of Sundays. And there we go. On film, I've managed to do it. That was probably the first and last time in my life. So the aim of the game is to knock your opponent's dice into the pockets, into the holes. Whoever's left standing wins. It's a little bit more complicated than that, though. Between rounds, so let's say hypothetically we've all taken our rolls and all our dice are scattered into the ring. Nobody's won as of yet. You then have an opportunity to take dice out and take a new shot with them from the border. And depending on the side of the dice, the face of the dice that you're looking at, that will determine what type of move you can do. So, if we look at the zebra card here, if it's on his face, you can take the dice, and you don't have to restrict yourself to the little indicators on the sides here. You can place it at any spot in the black border, wherever suits you for the best shot. So I'd probably want to go from over here. If it's on any of the zebra's stripes, so his belly, his back, his bum, etc., you can take a shot from the side, but you have to take it from one of the 4 indicators. But if it's hooves up, if his feet are up in the air, he's stunned, and you are not able to take that dice out and play it from the border. So you continue, basically. You have more opportunities to knock your opponent's dice into pockets by flicking it in. Now, I'm sure there's some incredible technique, and I'd love to understand and know what that incredible technique is, but me and the kids, we just basically go, oh, I've just knocked my own dice in there. We just basically go, hell for leather on it. Oh, yes! That's a nice corner there. Come on, Cheetah. You're on a face as well, so you can go from any point. Let's go from there. Yes! So you get the idea. So the final point to make is each of the animals has a special little power that they can use. It'll determine on the card how often and when they can use it. So the cheetah here, use at the end of your turn, move a non-stunned cheetah to a new location in the arena. So you get to... Like if your cheetah was over the pocket there and you're thinking, oh, they're going to knock me in the pocket, you could use the cheetah power at the end of your turn to relocate it and put it sort of more centrally out of the way. The elephant, he says, use during your turn, flick a face up or back up elephant from its position in the arena instead of off the rail. Holy moly, so you can just go, meow. Oh no, it went in the pocket. The zebra, this is a fun one. Opponent must close eyes or look away before flicking the next animal. My kids like to come up behind me and do that thing where they put their hands over my eyes to make sure I'm not peeking. And the gorilla, he's an interesting one. You can fire a gorilla from the top of another gorilla like that. So that's the other little addition, is the bonus powers that each animal has. There you go. That's how you go. You keep going until all of your opponent's dice are either knocked into the pockets or sitting feet up stunned to win the game. In this instance, the zebra would win. As simple as that, really. So my kids love this game, and I must admit I'm a big fan too. So's my brother, so's my mother, so's my dad, so's my mother-in-law, otherwise known as the dragon-in-law. My wife enjoys it. The kids have had friends around, they've all enjoyed it. My sister-in-law, my brother-in-law, loads of people, all just in our extended family and friends, have come round and enjoyed this game at one point or another over the last 2 years. There's a couple of reasons for that, I think. As far as my children are concerned, they love anything that's got some colour and some fun characters. They love stuff which has got this kind of great cartoony feel, and I must admit, I like the aesthetic. I really enjoy the little cartoon characters. In fact, I was talking to Zev from Wizkid at the UK Games Expo just gone, the one in 2019, and I was saying that my kids love this game. Are there going to be any more animals? And he said, yes, they've got some in the pipeline, so that'll be really interesting. The rumour is there's a flamingo, a crocodile, and an orangutan in the mix, so we'll have to keep our eyes open for that in the coming in the coming months. So they just love anything that's colourful, got that family-friendly energy about it, with fun characters, and this absolutely nails it. And the dice as well have just got lots of character on them. Look at that! Look at that custom dice there. Look at the character faces on them. You just can't. You really. I mean, let me just look at the elephant. They're great. But of course, as I well know, being a long-standing Dice Masters player, Wizkids definitely do custom dice very, very well. The tactile element, the fact that it's dice flicking and it's a bit fun and it's a bit different. And pew, you know, pew pew off the side of the thing. There we go. Pew. Oh Christ, the light. That nearly ended very badly. Hang on, let me just lean over here. The audio probably went funny then. So the tactile element of it, again, clearly appeals to my children. They love stuff that's got a lot of hustle and bustle, a lot of energy and activity that's going, and Kung Fu Zoo absolutely has it. You know, spinning your board round to get your best shot on the angle. But also, there's a random element. I mean, you could argue that there's a kind of skill aspect to flicking the dice off the side, but if there is, I and my family and everyone we played it with over the last 2 years has not identified that particular skill. There probably is a flicking technique that leads to success every time. So there's a kind of a wild, furious kind of energy about it, because there's that moment where you're about to take an epic shot. You've got the gorilla sat over the pocket. You're lined up and... oh, you know? Or you take the shot like I did before, it goes straight in and you go, oh no! Or even you shoot so wildly it flies out of the, you know, so there's just a lot of energy and cheering and oh! But nobody, you know, it's not like one of those when the kids lose, they start to get a slapped arse face on them because they know it's random, nobody's really intentionally. I mean, look, my daughter's tried a few things like just like that, you know. So that also kind of makes it a great leveler. Adults and children are, you know, duking it out on an even standing. There's no complexity to the rules there that are going to interfere with, you know, the children's ability to beat the adults, which I think is important. The special powers are just a little bit of silly fun to top it off. As I mentioned before, the zebra's particularly popular. Everyone loves playing the zebra in my house because they like to come up behind me and put their hands over my eyes. Put the hands over my eyes, you know, like that, so that I can't see the shot that I'm taking, which is always a laugh and a giggle, and there's lots of movement and energy about it. So really, I can't recommend it any higher. It's very reasonably priced as well. I think I picked it up for around 20 quid, which, you know, for a game of this nature is probably about average, but I consider that particularly reasonable, especially when you factor in how often it's been played. It's had a few knocks. It's been carried around many kind of family events and parties where we've used it to entertain the children, and it's still surviving strong. So yeah, Kung Fu Zoo, we love it, and we can't recommend it highly enough. It's definitely got, you know, a Ministry of Dice thumbs up from the Mr. Six family, definitely. So yeah, go check it out. Give Kung Fu Zoo a try. I think that's it. I've got nothing else more to say other than, I don't know, maybe like a gorilla sound.